Hello and welcome. My name is Debbie Morgan and I'm the Director for Primary at the NCTM. I'd like to welcome you to the Mastery Number at Reception and Key Stage 1 programme. I believe you to be the fourth cohort in this very successful programme. So what we'll look at in this launch is the aims of the programme, what it is we're trying to do and achieve. How maybe this programme is a little bit different. You want it to be different because you want it to make greater success than maybe previous things that you've tried. So what are the key strategies that enable us to make those changes, those successful and effective changes in your school? And we want those changes to be sustainable. So it's really important that we consider these things right at this outset. So the aims of the programme are twofold. One, develop fluency in number facts, such as that they are recalled with automaticity, that a child can say 5 plus 3 is 8 without having to go 5, 6, 7, 8. It will make a huge difference to how they think and operate in mathematics. Alongside that, we want to develop a deep number sense. By that, I mean having that flexibility with numbers, spotting mathematical structure and relationships within the mathematics, which makes them more effective and efficient mathematicians. So, in a nutshell, key aims of the programme are fluency in those number facts and the development of that deep number sense. That will really set up firm foundations for being successful in mathematics. So I want you just to think now about a child in your school, a child who struggles with mathematics. It just doesn't make sense. They don't seem to be making the progress that they should be making. Mathematics is an enigmatic subject in which a few succeed with disarming ease. It just seems to come to them, while others seem somehow to be doomed to failure. It seems to be a slog for them. Tall and Gray talk about that some progress and use really flexible and powerful knowledge in mathematics to calculate and to operate and to solve problems. For others, their only strategy is to count. And that works at first, but actually in the long term, it really means that they're doing a harder type of mathematics than those who have developed more efficient, easier strategies. So the solution is don't count. So because an over-reliance on counting restrains that flexible thinking. And many children currently leave Key Stage 1 without fluency in number facts within 10. And they're still reliant on counting in ones, so either counting all or counting on from the larger number to add and subtract. And that's very much associated with low attainment. In fact, pupils at Key Stage 3, that's a key characteristic of those that are failing. Gray points out also that this over-reliance on lengthy counting, it limits children's attention. They're just so overloaded with this that it limits their attention to numerical relationships. And therefore it restrains that flexible thinking that is so important to problem solving. So just in summary then, counting's associated with low attainment, as we said. So let's ensure it's not okay to say, oh, well, at least they're getting to an answer. They may be a bit slower, because actually, if their only strategy is to count, then we're setting them up for failure in the future, because it will restrain their flexible thinking. Karis Vicina, in her research, quotes Anne Watson, who argues that low attaining children, they can have this flexible thinking that we're talking about, and they can be more efficient and effective mathematicians. And Karis's research indicates that when prompted, children who employ only basic calculations do actually have the capability to use additive composition. It's just that they're not using it at the moment because they haven't been explicitly taught. They're capable of it, but they need explicit teaching, whereas some pupils just pick it up naturally. So in summary again, our low attainers can develop the kind of thinking associated with high attainment in mathematics through explicit teaching. And the program is for all children because even our higher attainers benefit from thinking deeply about mathematical relationships and ensuring they've got the fluency in their number facts. Daniel Willingham, a cognitive scientist, talks a lot about the importance of automaticity with those facts. And he shows that it's important because it frees the mind to think about concepts. There's not a separation between factual knowledge and conceptual knowledge. The two very much build on and are linked together. And the automatic retrieval of basic concepts, of basic facts, I should say, is critical to solving complex problems. So it's crucial to solve with being good problem solvers. So, in summary, again, automaticity with facts does two things. It relieves overload and it supports problem solving. And we want all of our children to be successful problem solvers in maths. So, what is the program? What are those strategies that we're employing that make it effective, that develop that fluency, that develop that number sense and that deep knowledge of mathematical relationships? A key aspect is differentiation. Indeed, there is none, because we want all children to have the same experience and to make that experience accessible to all. All need to develop automaticity in their facts, and all need to develop that deep number sense. Even for those children who may already know those facts, they benefit from looking more deeply at mathematical structures and relationships. For some children, they may need a little bit extra. And that's maybe where you think, oh, there is a bit of differentiation because we're giving a bit of extra to some children. And you will know and be able to identify those children. And the materials suggest follow-up activities for those that need them. And indeed, in reception, there's significant detail for continuous provision and routines to reflect good early years aspects. And indeed, to reflect the framework for the foundation stage, that actually our additional time should be given to those that maybe have got some gaps at the moment, but we want to join up those gaps and enable all to achieve. So differentiation, there is none, basically. We're really pleased to see the Ofsted report 2023 in that it recommended mastering number as a really positive element of good practice. They've obviously seen it happening in schools and have been very impressed by the impact it has and the really detailed structure that it has to support and include all children in developing automaticity in facts and number sense. And it particularly mentions aspects such as the whole class teaching, the use of the Rec and Rec. Hopefully your Rec and Recs have started to arrive. If not, they will be with you very soon. And dice patterns and subitizing and all the materials that we use within the program, as well as teacher questioning, which the materials give support with, and also videos for staff training. They also draw out call response. Now, call response is relatively new in this country, and you may not have tried it before, and it may seem a bit alien to you that all the children are chanting and saying something at the same time. But I would suggest go with it because we have significant feedback that it really works. I know one teacher said to me, Debbie, you know those STEM sentences, they've leveled the playing field in my class. They've given all children the language to think about the mathematics. So when you get your first element of training, look out for how to effectively use those STEM sentences. It's not just about children chanting mindlessly, but it's about the sentences come once children have some understanding of the mathematics and they just summarize it for them and indeed generalize it for them and use a sentence that can be used in lots of different contexts, but it's the same sentence which shows that the mathematics is the same. Let's just have a look at a few images from a Rec and Rec. The lesson in which they come from is to make 14. So let's have a look at what would be the best way you would want children to make 14. Would it be like this, with 10 on the top and 4 on the bottom? Would it be like this, with 4 on the top and 10 on the bottom? Does it matter whether the 4 is on the bottom or on the top? Or would it be like this? We can make 14 with 2 7s. This is a really key aspect of the program and maybe what makes it different from previous practice, in that we want all children to focus on the same structure at the same time. It's not a context of, oh, well, you do it that way and you do it that way and you do it that way. And suddenly the child in the corner whose only strategy is to be able to count 14 and not really thinking about where they'll be is just lost. And so it is for this particular lesson, it is the top one on the left, because 14 is made of 10, and when we write that 1 for 14, we're talking about 110, and then the 4 represents an additional 4 to that 110. So we've got 14 in total. A colleague of mine picked up that a child in her class was making 14 like the second one on the top. They were putting the 4 first and then the 10. And when she asked them to write 14, they wrote 4 and then a 1. Because actually when we say 14, we say the 4 first. But actually we've got to think 10 first and then 4 more. So I hope I'm illustrating that it's really important that everybody focuses on the same structure so that everybody's getting that strong number sense of what 14 represents. We will also look at 14 in another lesson, but not in this lesson, as a double. Doubles do feature really strongly in the program, and on this Rec and Rec, the 14 is lovely to see because you can see the double 5 is 10, and then you can automatically see the 4 more making 14. So that will be looked at, but not in the same lesson. So in summary, all children need to attend to the same structure at a particular time. We will bring all those structures together, but let's not overload. Let's make sure that all children are picking up on the most important structures and not only on some. Another image we use to expose structure alongside your Rec and Recs is the Hungarian number pattern. They use a dice pattern. You can see 5 as a dice pattern here, and they colour it. So we've turned over one of the counters to make it red. So, and that's drawing together that composition of 5, that we can see 5 as 4 and 1, and that visual image of the dice pattern becomes very strong in children's minds and helps them with the automaticity of number facts. Seeing that dice pattern like that automatically just develops that they just know that 4 and 1 is 5. Why wouldn't it be? Okay, I'm going to ask you what you see on this Rec and Rec image. Hopefully you're going to say 6, and I'm hoping that you didn't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this is key, as we mentioned earlier, to not counting. The Rec and Rec is helping us not count, so we can ask a child to do 1 push 6, and they can look at the Rec and Rec, they can see the 5 because it's color coded red, and they can then say, oh, 6 is 1 more than 5. They put the finger on the 6 and shift it across the Rec and Rec. So the Reckonrect's a really important resource for stopping children counting, and you will probably spend the first week stopping them counting, just practicing how to do the one push on the Reckonrec, so that actually nobody is counting and they're all automatically doing that one push and sabotaging that 6 rather than counting it. There's a lot of emphasis on sabotaging in the program, coming from the research that actually it supports children in becoming very successful mathematicians. Alongside that, you can see a STEM sentence there, which will be completed by the children, and they'd all say together, 6 is made of 5 and 1, 5 and 1 makes 6. And they're seeing it. That's what I mean by these STEM sentences. They're seeing that structure as they say it. They're not just mindlessly chanting something. They're seeing structure, and that language becomes part of their own language to describe mathematical structure. So, as I said, we're calling it week 0 in the program in year 1 and 2. In reception, you won't start with a Reckonrec. We'll build towards that and get there by the end of the year. But in year 1 and 2, we will start with the Reckonrecs, and it's important becoming familiar with them and how to use them and how to do that one push. And the anchoring of the 5, recognizing that there's 5 red and 5 white, and seeing the 5s on there, and then being able to do the one push 6, and indeed tip it back again, and we can do one push 7 by seeing that 7 is 5 and 2 more. So here's just a slide from the year 1 set of materials. We use number blocks. Number blocks have kindly worked with us to provide some images and indeed some small excerpts from the number block program. But number blocks is really strong in composition of number. So 7 says, find the 5 in me. Well, some children might think, what do you mean 5? You're 7, you're not 5, you've got nothing to do with 5. But inside 7, there is a 5. 7 is the whole, and 5 is a part, and 2 is a part of that whole. So really strong feature which develops children's number facts, but also their deep understanding of relationships. So inside 7 isn't only about 7, but inside 7 there's a 5 and a 2. And we can do the same with 8. And 8 says, find the 5 in me. And the children are not saying this time that you're 8 and not 5. They're saying, aha, inside 8 there is a 5. And indeed, alongside that 5, there is a 3. So 8 is the whole, 5 is a part, and 3 is a part. We're now just going to watch a teacher who's been using the Mastering Number program in her reception class. And I just want you to listen and hear from her the impact of the program on these reception children.
Okay, today we are thinking all about the number 6. Can you show me the number 6?
My experience of the Mastering Number programme has been a really positive one. I think the difference it's made to the children is the fact that all of the children are coming along at the same pace. They all feel really confident in their use of number, and I think that's been helped by, for example, the training that I've had on my use of gesture and using our hands and our fingers.
Adriano knew that 5 and 1 is the same as
6.
Can we all say that? 5 and 1 is the same as 6.
We use STEM sentences a lot, and the children they know all of the STEM sentences and they love sharing them with me. So as soon as I say, how do we know that this shows me 5? The children all repeat really excitedly, we know there are 5
fingers on my hand.
And they love it and they're enthusiastic and they're excited.
Ready with your thumbs? Is it 6 or not 6?
6.
Okay, I want you to tell your partner how you know. How many more?
One of the things they really love is talking to their talk partner. So it gives them a chance to rehearse what they're going to say. It gives their partner a chance to challenge what they say, whether they agree or disagree. And we've really tried to get the children listening to one another, not just one person talking and then the other person talking.
What was the number that we saw on the screen? Can you all show me 4? Gigi, how did you know?
2 at the top and 2 at the bottom.
There are 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. And how many does that make altogether, Gigi?
4.
Okay, can we say a sentence about that then, everybody? Can you show me 2 and another 2? So start with your 4. So we've got 4 is made of 2 and 2, and double 2 is 4. Can you put your fingers together to prove to me that that's a double? Have your fingers got a partner?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our double number.
When we first started the programme, I think we were initially a little bit sceptical about it, because we found from some of our baseline assessments that our children had come up with quite a strong baseline, and the programme was going quite slowly initially. But now we're reaping the benefits of that, because that's when it brought along all of the other children, got them all to a very similar level, and now they've got such a good underpinning of maths now to take forward with them. Their ability to subitize and their composition of number is all really strong now, and I think I can see how that is then going to help them as they move into Key Stage 1.
Subitizing is what looking at a number and then not counting it and they know the number.
Okay, so we enjoyed watching the children there and Zoe the teacher talking about the impact. One of the key things that I'd like to pull out from that video is when Zoe talks about how it's brought all the children together and provided a firm foundation for all, so they're all really ready for year 1 now. The other thing I'd like to draw attention to is the use of gesture. You saw the children using gesture with their double 2. That 4 is made of 2 and 2, and double 2 is 4, and using a gesture to show the 2s with their fingers and then putting them together to see if they had a partner. Another couple of key aspects of the programme that are proving to be effective. So in reception, the programme will cover all of the number work within the early years framework. You will have to do some additional work on the geometry side, shape and space side of the curriculum, but all of the number work is well covered, and we know that it's effective because schools have been using it. It will also include, as I mentioned earlier, suggestions for routines and continuous provision and small or individual group work for those that might need a bit of extra practice, and it will exemplify good early years practice. One of the key things that sticks in my head is that explicit teaching doesn't detract from play. Play is really important for children of this age in their development, but the explicit teaching actually enhances their play, and that's being shown through many schools that are using the programme. So inclusion for all children is really important, as I've indicated previously. How do you think, what approach do you think we're taking? Is it that children are included because we're asking lots of open-ended questions, and then children can give lots of different responses to those questions? Is it that different questions, we're using different questions, but we're aiming them at particular children? So we ask this question and then we might ask this particular child. Is it that the attention of all is focused on the one mathematical relationship, and that relationship is made accessible to all, and any distractions to that are removed? Hopefully you've picked up that the approach we are taking is C. That everybody would look, that the programme is very structured, very focused, so that we will all look at the same relationship at the same time, so that we build that depth of knowledge together rather than separating out of the children to progress at different rates. They will progress together, and as Zoe said, it will give all children a really deep understanding of the mathematics. And I would say one of the things Zoe mentioned in that video that she felt, gosh, the program was going really slowly. She goes, how are we ever going to cover these goals by Christmas? By the end of the year. By Christmas, we'd only got to maybe barely the number 5 in reception. But that's a deliberate ploy. Another key feature of the program is slowing down in order to go fast later on. It will really reap its benefits in the long term if we build these really firm foundations for all children. So now let's turn our attention. I know I've got lots of head teachers and subject leaders here today. Let's turn our attention to developing sustainable change. We need the program to make changes. We need it to improve the experience and the effectiveness of learning mathematics for pupils in our school. And we want that change to be sustainable. That can be a challenge for schools. You lose staff, you lose somebody with the expertise. So let's think at this stage about how we embed structures in the school that will support sustainable change, because the program isn't just for this year. We're giving you the support with the program this year, but you will continue using the program in years to come. So going to the new EEF cycle, which many of you will be familiar with, these are elements that you need to think about in planning for this sustainable change that you're hoping the program is going to bring about. So some of the things to think about is, what are your school priorities? How does this program fit in to your current school development plan? If it doesn't, then actually you need to do some work on how it does and how it's going to be supported. Consider your current provision. Maybe you might need to stop doing some things. You know, the idea that schools keep adding and adding is just not sustainable. So maybe you're doing something that maybe isn't really effective, and you're hoping that this is going to be more effective. So there might be things that you need to stop. De-implementation, I believe it's now being called. How will you ensure that all staff know? So not all staff might be directly involved in delivering the program, but actually this is about a whole school thing. The Key Stage 2 teachers need to be aware of the program in order that they can recognise its impact as children move through the school. So how are you going to ensure that everybody is aware of the program and indeed is on board with it and has a vision for the difference it can make? On a practical level, timetabling, when are you going to fit it in? You know, I've had some schools say to me, oh, Debbie, we were going good at the beginning, but we really haven't got the time to fit it in, and it's now fallen by the wayside, and we do it some days and not other days. And so you don't want to get into that situation. So you need to think about where you're going to fit it in. If you can, the ideal is to give additional time to the program. We're suggesting 10 to 15 minutes in addition to the main maths lesson. If you haven't got the time to do that, then we would suggest that you shorten the main maths lesson in order to provide time for this. Schools who've done that have really found it's been beneficial. The other thing I would say, don't just tag it on, if you can help it, to your main maths lesson. Do it at a different time of the day, so that actually it's a little discrete piece of time dedicated to it. But having said it's discrete, we do hope that it will also feed in, that the fluency and the number sense that children are developing will feed into your main maths lesson. And as you're planning for your main maths lesson, you'll be thinking what children have done in mastering number and how you can bring it in. But teaching them separately will be really helpful. As you engage at the delivery stage of the program, we want you to critically reflect and use the online community to do this, to learn and adapt, to share with each other. The online community is a really, really important element of the program. You'll only get this online support and this community for this year. So please make sure you use the most of it, make the most of it. And it is an expectation that you will engage in that community, sharing your successes, sharing your challenges, solving your challenges alongside your work group lead will be really important to work in collaboration in that way. How will you sustain? So over the longer term, I mentioned sustaining. How will you sustain the program over the longer term? You know, at the end of the year, will you reflect on the effectiveness, any tweaks that you need to make, maybe to timetabling for the program to make sure that it's as effective as it can? And what we expect is that in the second year, it will be even better. So reflect to have the expectation that it will be even better in the second year. My reason for that is teachers are becoming more confident with it. Secondly, that for years 1 and 2, they're on their second year of it. They've already done it either in reception or in year 1. And then on its third year, it should be brilliant because children come through, and you might need to adapt the program slightly because of that. I'll go at a slightly quicker pace because of that. But do take ownership. Make sure the teachers in your school take ownership of the program. I think in the first year, please make sure that they don't rush through. Please make sure that you actually go at the pace that the program is designed, or even a little bit slower, in order to take ownership and make sure that children are benefiting from the program. So in terms of maximizing its impact, fidelity to the program is important. As I've just indicated, don't rush through it, don't miss things out. Take time to embed, pausing to reflect, and maybe redoing some stuff that actually maybe you didn't teach that quite as well as you expected, and you now realize that actually you should have slowed down at that point, and actually children need a bit more practice because they're finding the next bit a bit tricky. And ensure that there's PD in your school. So one of the teachers will be the lead teacher for their year group, but make sure that all are getting PD, that those teachers have got time to work together, that others across the school are also sharing. You're sharing with them what's happening. A really nice way, if you've got more than one class in a year group, is for one teacher to teach the mastery number early in the day, and the other teacher's released for 10 or 15 minutes to come and watch, and they can discuss together, and then maybe swap over the next week so that they're getting a chance to watch each other and critically reflect and support each other in that way. There will be NCTM live sessions, and you should have had the date for your first one of those. And there will also be local sessions as well, led by your work group leads. So please make sure you engage in every aspect of the program, and in particular that you engage in the online community. There is an expectation that at least one teacher from your school will engage with the online community and share successes and get support with challenges. And there'll also be sessions for head teachers and subject leaders. And again, you should have had the dates for those, so you can think about at a strategic level the embedding of this program across your school. So in conclusion, things to do at this stage: nominate a lead teacher for each year group. You might only have one teacher in each year group, then it's easy. And then each teacher, for each year group, should register on Mastery Number Access area and be responsible for downloading the materials and working with other teachers to plan and prepare from those materials, and also sharing reflections and engaging in discussion, and indeed attending the live training. Now, if all of your teachers, so say you had 3 year 2 teachers, if all of them wanted to attend the live training, they are welcome to do so. We haven't made it an expectation because we know it can be tricky to release teachers, but if you are able to release them all together for just over an hour, then that would be brilliant. What we do ask, if you're doing that, is that they're all on the same computer, and that's to ensure that we don't overload our Zoom licenses where people are stopped from coming in because we've got too many. So you can have as many there as you like, including your teaching assistants if you're able to release them as well. Everybody's welcome, but the expectation is that we will have at least one person who's able to work with the other teachers. But if everybody wants to come, then that's fine as well. And if the subject leader wants to attend, then that's fine as well. But just make sure you're on the same computer. So finally, just to say, the materials are protected and only available to schools on the programme. So please don't share them, because the programme is primarily not just about materials, but about the professional development. Engagement is important. We're not asking you to pay for the programme, but we are asking you to engage with it through downloading the materials, through the live training, both at a national and a local level, and also in the communities that you're contributing to those, and also to engage in evaluation of the programme. You should have had details by now. If not, they will come very quickly. And in that evaluation, you'll be asked to select just 4 children who you will do some tasks at the beginning and some tasks at the end, just to measure and get a sense of progress over time. So it leaves me just to say huge thank you. Lovely to see you today. And we look forward to hearing about the impact of the programme on your schools. Thank you.